Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Tool Time Tuesday. This is a monthly hop all year long. Each month we get assigned a different tool that we're supposed to feature in our videos. And this month's tool is the Distress tool. So this is the one that I use most often. This is the Tim Holtz one. You can also go cheap and use something like this nail block. It's got different sizes. I'm going to be honest with you, I never found this to work all that well. Or you can use an actual nail file, which works great. I use this one when I'm trying to distress in small areas that I can't get to with the Tim Holtz one. It's kind of like around that. And for the most part, I just use this one. Another tool you can use is your scissors. I don't trust myself using the scissors. I would probably cut my fingers off, so that's a hard pass. So I'm going to be creating a layout with my August counterfeit kit. This is a mix of Vicki Boutin Sweet Rush and Color Study collections. I just compiled them into one large kit based on the color palette on one of the collections in our inspiration kit this month. So these are the papers that I pulled. I pulled some washi, and this is from Sweet Rush. It is a scrap from a previous layout, and then I have some die cuts and the chipboard stickers here, and then the chipboard, or these are the cardstock stickers, these are the chipboard stickers. And so I'm going to be scrapbooking a layout about my very sweaty self in this photo. This is something that I do for self-care, is to maintain my workouts every day if I can. On my busy days like today, I don't get to it, but I do try to maintain it, and the reason for that is I have a spinal injury, and as long as I keep my core muscles strong and toned, my back stays in alignment and I'm not hurting. There's other parts to that as well, such as I changed my diet in order to help keep my body from having tons of inflammation in it. Anyway, I also included, these are from Paige Evans Wonders collection. This is a scrap and a bunch of the regular stickers. I don't know that I'm going to actually use any of these, but we'll get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. I'm going to start making some cuts, and then I'm going to get back on here and we're going to start distressing all the things with my tools. I'm going to start by creating my background. I'm going to cut this piece of pattern paper down into strips, and I'm going to loosely glue them onto that floral background, and I will poke some holes and do some hand stitching, but I will do that part off camera so you don't have to watch me do that. That takes approximately an hour and a half to completely finish, and I don't like to make long videos, and I don't think you need to see me stitching. I am going to also trim down this grid paper because later I will use a little piece of it to use for journaling on my layout. Now, first off, I'm going to go ahead and distress my photo. Remember, I said I was going to distress all the things. I trimmed this photo down to about 3.5 by 5, and then I wanted to do that because I wanted it to actually fit better on that scrap that I have there. I didn't want to cut into a new piece. I have a full piece of that 6 by 8 left, but I didn't want to cut into it. I'm trying to use scraps up as I go this month so that I don't have 1,000,001 at the end of the month. I'm doing okay with that so far. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and mat the photo, trim it down, and then I will distress the mat itself. I'm going to go ahead and trim off that branding strip and get it set aside. I am saving these in case I can come up with a way to use them instead of save them all at the end of the month. I have a little can that I'm keeping them in, but I'm going to try to use all of those up before the end of the month if I can. Anyway, I'm also going to distress this background piece as well. So my next step is going to be to try to figure out how I'm going to lay these strips of paper out. At first I thought that I would just kind of lay them in a offset manner all the way across the top of the layout or the background piece, but I ran out of room and decided that instead I would overlap them in the same way. As you'll see, here's where I decide that there's just not enough room for that, so I'm just going to start overlapping them and kind of leaving them offset as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and distress each piece, and then I will actually glue those together. I decided not to make you sit and watch me do all of those strips of pattern paper. You kind of got the idea of watching me do one. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay out my distressed strips on my glass mat, and I'm just going to kind of loosely adhere them down in the middle because I am going to do some hand stitching, as I mentioned already. So I kind of want these to be offset, and I'll have to fix them once I start putting them on the pattern paper because I did get a few of the pieces a little too far over, but it works out because I actually didn't put a whole lot of adhesive on the back and I haven't really pressed it out, but now I'm just kind of straightening it out a little bit. So once I get all of the strips on the background the way I want them, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the adhesive and get them down. I'm just basically tacking them down, and here is where I'm in process of stitching. Alright, I have the background completely stitched at this point, and now I'm just going to start laying out my embellishments and photo. I chose 6 circles, and I'm going to distress each circle. I do try to distress that vellum and decide that it wasn't worth tearing. That was not the look I was going for. I try a couple of times, it's just not going to work. I even tried my nail file. It just didn't work the way I wanted, so the 2 vellum pieces are not going to get distressed. And I'm also not going to try to distress those little flowers that I fussy cut as embellishments to put in between each circle. But I am going to distress all of the other circles as I layer them up. I start to place the 3rd set of circles and realize I really need to estimate where my photo is going to go. I am going to use fun foam on the back of it. Isn't it pretty? It's glittery. That's about as close to glitter as this person is ever going to use on a layout. And you're never going to see it because, you know, I'm going to glue it down to the background. So I get the photo where I think it's going to end up, and I continue distressing my circles. So I don't know if you noticed that all three of the flowers that I use so far are only partial flowers. When I fussy cut flowers off of a pattern paper, I even fussy cut the ones on the edge because a lot of times I'm tucking and you're not going to see all of the petals anyway, and so I use those for tucking. That way I have a lot more whole flowers to layer elsewhere. These flowers were actually fussy cut for another layout that I haven't even started, but I have enough that I wanted to use the 4 that I chose here on this layout. Getting my title ready to go, and this little phrase that says, "Here's the whole story," or something like that. And I'm going to put that down there at the bottom of that bottom right set of circles. I'm kind of looking around for some more embellishments, and I decided to use these ink splatters. I have 2 stickers and I have some chipboard ones as well. I had misplaced this piece of pattern paper that I had trimmed down for journaling purposes, and I was kind of digging through everything trying to find it. I have another pile of stuff from this collection off to the right, off camera, that you can't see, and I had tucked it in there when I was recording just to get everything out of the way so that I had plenty of space. So I hand cut a rectangle to use for journaling, and I distressed it. Normally I don't hand cut anything because I can't cut straight worth a darn. But for this, since I was distressing it, it just didn't really matter. So I know that this isn't a layout about art, but I'm using art-related title and a couple of art-related embellishments like the splatters and that paint roller with the rainbow coming out of it. This layout is about self-care, and that's why I'm using that theme. So here's kind of just a glimpse of how I have everything put together. All right, I finished this layout and I am very happy with the way that it turned out. I did add some foam adhesive here, 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 and here on the layout. I am going to have to glue this down just a little bit better. It's popping up. Oh, and I put some foam adhesive here as well. Added my journaling, made sure that these cardstock stickers were glued down. Plus, I went ahead and I added 2 strips of washi at the top and the bottom of that large photo mat because I haven't used it yet this month. I included this roll of washi as well as several others in my August counterfeit kit. And that one was a brand new roll, and I need to say I used it, so I used it. As always, check that description box below my video. There is a list of all of the creators playing along with Tool Time Tuesday. We release videos each week. Each week we have a different set of creators. I am week 3, so weeks 1 through 3 should already be posted to their channels. Week 4 comes out next week, and then we take a break for September, and we come back weeks 1 through 4 for September's tool. And I will not give you a hint at what that is beforehand, but just make sure that you check back in September to see what our new tool is for the month. You have a great rest of your day. Bye.